You chose to watch this video. Or did you? Think about what happened in the 60 seconds before you pressed play. An algorithm running on servers in a data center you will never visit calculated your psychological profile, your fears, your curiosities, your current insecurities. It assessed the precise emotional state you were in at that exact moment. And it placed this video in front of you. Not randomly, not because it thought you might enjoy it, because it knew, with statistical certainty, that a person with your specific psychological fingerprint at this specific time of day would be unable to scroll past this title. You did not find this video. This video found you. And here is the thing that should stop you completely. This is not the first time. Every significant decision you believe you made freely in the last decade, what you buy, who you voted for, what you fear, what you believe about yourself, was preceded by an invisible architecture of influence. It is so precise, so personal, and so deeply embedded in the systems you use every day that you never felt it happening. You thought you were thinking. You were being aimed. The science of controlling human minds without their knowledge is not a conspiracy theory. It is a documented, peer-reviewed, billion-dollar industry, and it works. Not on weak minds, not on uneducated people. It works on every human brain that has ever existed, including the one you are using right now. Welcome to the Mind Ledger, where we open the accounts your mind has been keeping secret. In 1996, social psychologist John Bargh conducted an experiment that would become one of the most disturbing findings in behavioral science. He asked participants to unscramble simple word puzzles. One group received neutral words, the other received words associated with old age, Florida, bingo, wrinkle, retired, gray. Not once did the experiment mention physical movement. Yet when the participants left the room, the group exposed to the old words walked measurably slower down the hallway than the neutral group. They did not decide to slow down. They had no idea they were being measured. 5 words, seen for 30 seconds, changed how their physical body moved through the world. This is called priming, and it is the foundation of everything that follows. Your brain is a prediction machine. It does not wait for instructions. It constantly scans its environment for patterns and adjusts your behavior in response to signals you are not consciously processing. Whispers that never reach your awareness. Patterns that your conscious mind will never know existed. Signals that have already changed what you do next. Consider a 2006 study, briefly exposing people to the Apple logo for less than a second, too fast for conscious recognition, made them perform measurably better on creativity tests than those exposed to the IBM logo. They did not see the logo. Their brain did, and it acted without asking for permission. Or the brand did not need you to notice it. It only needed your neurons. In January 2012, Facebook ran an experiment on 689,003 users, without telling them, without asking them. For 1 week, they manipulated the emotional tone of their news feeds. One group saw happy posts. Another saw negative posts. The result was unambiguous. Emotions are contagious, not metaphorically contagious. Measurably, transmissibly contagious. People shown negative content began producing negative posts of their own. You do not need to speak to someone to catch their mood. You only need to see the content that an algorithm decided you should see. Facebook published this in a scientific journal under the title Experimental Evidence of Massive-Scale Emotional Contagion Through Social Networks. Massive scale, their words. not ours. Here is what that means in practice. A single company, by adjusting a hidden variable, can change how you feel tonight. They can make you angrier. They can make you more likely to argue with your partner. They can make you more afraid of the future. And you will call that resulting emotional state your mood. In 2013, researcher Michal Kosinski discovered that by analyzing your Facebook likes, he could predict your personality with greater accuracy than your own spouse. With 300 likes, the algorithm knows you better than the person sleeping next to you. A company called Cambridge Analytica took this blueprint and harvested data from 87 million users. They did not build demographic profiles based on where you live. They built psychographic profiles. They mapped who was neurotic and susceptible to fear. They mapped who was agreeable and would follow the crowd. They mapped who was conscientious and would respond to appeals to order. They mapped who was individualistic and would respond to messages about being lied to by institutions. Then they targeted each individual mind with a different message. This was not propaganda in the old sense, posters and speeches. This was precision psychological targeting, a message designed not to inform you but to activate you, to press directly on the emotional triggers that your personality profile predicted you had. It worked because the science is real. Your vulnerabilities can be mapped, and messages can be engineered to bypass your logic and speak directly to the basement of your brain. None of this is new. The precision is new. But the principle is a century old. His name was Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud. In 1928, he wrote, "Those who manipulate the unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power." Bernays invented what we now call public relations. He was the first to understand that you do not sell a product. You sell an emotion. In 1929, he made it socially acceptable for women to smoke by branding cigarettes as torches of freedom. He did not argue that smoking was good. He connected it to the feeling of liberation. He manufactured a social movement that was actually a product launch. Nobody in the crowd knew they were extras in a campaign. Cigarette sales to women doubled within a year. The industry he created is now worth $800 billion annually, and every technique he invented, using trusted authorities, manufacturing social proof, bypassing rational evaluation, is now encoded into the algorithm that runs your phone. Stop. Take a breath and look at the screen in front of you. Everything we just described, the subliminal priming, the emotional hijacking, the psychographic targeting, you might be tempted to file all of that under history. You remember the headlines. Cambridge Analytica was dissolved. Facebook was fined billions. Laws were proposed in rooms with mahogany tables. You might think the wound has been stitched shut. It has not. It just became part of the anatomy. Cambridge Analytica was not a failure of the system. It was a successful pilot program. It was one company. Today, those methods are the standard operating procedure for the entire digital world. Every search engine, every social network, every streaming service you use to relax is running continuous, live experiments on your nervous system. They are A/B testing your soul. They are measuring which specific shade of red makes your heart rate spike just enough to click. Which headline exploits your sense of urgency. Which notification timing hits your dopamine receptors at the exact moment of your greatest metabolic weakness. The 2012 experiments were not an anomaly. They were a proof of concept. The industry looked at the results and did not see a scandal. They saw a gold mine. and they built it into the walls of the digital world. Right now, not in 2012, not in 2016, but right now, there are algorithms running on your device that know more about your internal state than you are willing to admit to yourself. They know when you are lonely, not because you searched for how to find friends, but because your scrolling speed slows down by 15% when you feel isolated. They have measured that pattern in billions of humans. They recognized it in you before you even felt the first pang of sadness. They know when you are anxious. They see your 2 a.m. search queries. They see the frantic, statistically predictable pattern of your thumb on the glass. They know you are more open in the morning, more impulsive at night, more politically reactive after you have seen a specific type of content. And they do not just observe this. They use it. They wait for the moment your guard is down, and then they aim. Every single time you open your phone. Here is the question that the science does not answer. If your emotional state can be engineered by adjusting a feed, if your personality vulnerabilities can be mapped and targeted like a GPS coordinate, if your behavior can be predicted 10 seconds before you even feel the urge to act, what part of your thinking is actually yours? There are researchers who argue the answer is very little. They suggest that what we experience as independent thought is largely a post hoc rationalization, a story our brain invents to justify conclusions we were already steered toward by forces we cannot perceive. Think about your political beliefs. They might not reflect your values at all, but rather your psychological scar tissue. The specific anxieties and identity needs that your particular personality type is statistically most susceptible to. Think about your last purchase. It was not a reflection of your preference. It was the result of the precise engineering of desire by people who have studied human motivation for a century. You did not want it. You were made to want it. There are also those who argue the opposite. That awareness is protection. That the moment you see the mechanism, it begins to lose its power over you. That a mind which understands how it is being manipulated develops, slowly, painfully, but genuinely, a capacity for resistance. The purpose of understanding this invisible architecture is not to drive you to despair. It is to give you a map. It is about navigation. There is a word for the state of being controlled without your knowledge. It is not manipulation. Manipulation implies you could have resisted. The word is capture, and the captured mind does not feel captured. It feels free. It feels like it is choosing. It feels above all like itself. But you are no longer inside that feeling. You are watching a video about how minds are controlled. You are looking at the strings, and that is not nothing. Look at your device. It knows your location, your sleep patterns, your financial anxieties, the searches you made at 3 a.m. that you told no one about. It has been using all of it, quietly, continuously, without your awareness, to shape who you believe yourself to be. The question is not whether you have been influenced. You have. The question is whether there is something left that the influence has not yet reached. Something small, something quiet, something that was already there before the first algorithm ever learned your name. We do not know if that thing exists. Neither does the algorithm. And that uncertainty, that small, stubbornly open question, may be the last truly private space you have left. This is the mind ledger. The accounts are open. The ledger never lies.